been having this vision. I've been having this vision. Either rise or you fall. I'm on a mission, bringing my dreams to fruition. I ain't playing at all. Bring out the body bags, I'm about to kill them, deliver them to the mortician. I gotta do what I gotta do. That's for my fish, back in my face. I gotta do what I gotta do. I pray to God, he never came. I'ma do me, I'ma do me. That's in my blood, I'll never change. That's in my blood, I'll never change. That's in my blood, I'll never change.
Good afternoon. You're watching the Rip Curl Pro Bells Beach Post Show. All Women's Day today as we set up the quarterfinals as we get a little bit closer to crowning our champions on this famous wave, the longest running contest in championship tour history. Started back in the early 60s, and we still are here competing on the same venue here in 2022. Joanne Defay just survived a close one with Isabella Nichols. Nichols going down with a high single wave score into the excellent range. Only needed a 4-ranger, 4.67. A very close call and an important heat for Bella. She's sitting just behind the cut. She'll feel that pressure dramatically heading to West Oz. Making a lot of eliminations today. Things started off slow after a few delayed calls. Even some surfers thought they might get the day off. Sun came out and the Bells Bowl really came to life. Joe Turpel, Shannon Hughes, Richie Lovett here for the post show to go down all the action that happened. What happened to the top 5, Shannon? That was a crazy massacre that we had today.
Unbelievable just to see that full shift again. It was like that, you know, when the rookies took over at Sunset, now the vets have come back from the back foot that they got put into because of Sunset. It's pretty amazing to see how it's all going to change. I'm really excited to see where it falls through coming in the quarters. It's
been tough making those predictions, Rich. You know, looking at world number 2, Lakey Peterson, one of the favorites, being in what is her second home. Her husband's from Bells Beach. She spends a lot of time out there. I didn't see her going down this morning.
No, it was a tricky one for Lakey, and it was just a simple mistake at the start of the heat where she took the first wave of the set, and that kind of set the tone for the whole heat, and she was just behind rhythm, and, well, that was it.
Really interesting seeing her at number 2. Obviously, Tatiana Weston-Webb has finaled here, fresh off her win, and all of a sudden she's got to reset for Margaret River as we have a lot of adjustments happening on the leaderboard. Let's now catch up with the winner of the last heat. Joanne Defay is on the sand with Laura Ennever.
Yes, on the sand, Joanne. A very, very nerve-wracking heat at the end. Bella making an amazing comeback. Talk about the nerves throughout today.
Yeah, it's been kind of up and down days, you know. We've been waiting 3 calls this morning, and then I was surprised that they put the women out there because the wind was pretty bad and like it was pretty low opportunities out there this morning, and then it just got better and better, obviously, and the heat with Tyler and Reese got me excited, and in that heat, we had many opportunities, but we were fighting, you know, like positioning and stuff, and I think we blew many opportunities. But yeah, that end of the heat was really stressful. I just thought that to get a 7 point, I needed a really good wave, and for like a high 4, I was like, she needs at least like a medium-sized wave, and she went to grab like 2 small ones. So I think, yeah, it was I mean.
Well, a huge day, Joanne. You got the jump on Isabella there. In number 6 on the rankings. Talk about the nerves with just how much is on the line for all these girls today.
Yeah, you're right. That's also why I was frustrating with the call this morning. I was like, fuck, we have so much on the line. It's like the second last contest, and Margaret is not an easy wave too, you know, and so it was stressful, and we just needed to do the job. And sometimes, you know, you put the head down and you're like, okay, we got to do what we got to do, and yeah, I feel super happy to make that heat, obviously, and I know it's hard for Bella, and I know it's hard today for many girls.
Well, amazing job, and we look forward to seeing you in the quarterfinals. Go get some rest. We'll see you tomorrow for the call.
Thanks, Laura.
Thanks so much, Laura. I think Joanne Defay was able to share with the world kind of the emotional roller coaster that this cut is putting onto the tour, and even every day of competition, knowing what is on the line. If the pressure wasn't felt at the start of the season, it is really tangible now here at Bells Beach. Everybody can feel it, knowing that their job could be on the line. Will they be at Snapper after Margaret River, or will they be continuing on to G-Land? We had 3 calls this morning, Shannon, and that was a huge conversation. Are we on? Is it good enough to compete in these conditions? Everyone with so much on the line. Joanne did allude to the waves did start kind of firing throughout the day, and it was a classic day on the bowl. But I think one thing we just are learning about our competitors is how much pressure is on them. Some veterans are feeling more pressure than they've ever felt in their career.
Yeah, it's pretty unbelievable to see women like Courtney, Steph, and Sal. We've been having that conversation this entire week of them sitting so low down in the rankings. We're not even talking 10th, 11th on the right on the bubble. They're like down into 14th, 15th, 17th place on the rankings. It's crazy. So there's a lot of pressure on the line, and I can understand that emotion that we've been hearing post-heat after post-heat, guys. It's been an emotional day.
As let's dive deeper into these rankings, because there's going to be some shaded names that we're really looking for a big result here at Bells Beach. Look at the top 5. Lakey, Tati, Malia out, and then kind of crunch time to qualify as well. Rich, what do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. And just have a look at where those names are highlighted down below there. Courtney, Sally, Bronte, and Steph. They're all starting to make a move below that cut line, doing exactly what they needed to do in this event. It's not over yet, so they've still got some work to do. But what they're trying to achieve is to just take the pressure off that pressure cooker moment that they didn't want to have in Western Australia. They're trying to get rid of that so that they've got a bit more breathing room. And certainly a semi-final or even a final result here is going to see those leaderboards change dramatically over the next few days.
There's a lot of bells remaining in the final series. When we look at the first quarterfinal, Courtney versus Sally, they have so many similarities. They have 12 CT wins in their career. They've been runner-up to the world title. Courtney with 3 bells, Sally with 2. Hard to pick a winner there. And then the other bells super bout was filled with world titles, quarter 3, with Carissa Moore and Steph Gilmore.
Yeah, it's unreal to see these sort of matchups now hitting in the corners with so much on the line. Of course, between Carissa and Steph, you almost want it to go to Steph because there's so much more for her career-wise at stake right now. But then it's Carissa, and her form today, although she didn't hit that excellent range, was just everyone's eyes were on. Her power was unmatchable.
And obviously Carissa, number 2 in the world, things are feeling relatively normal. Steph's on the wrong side of the cut. She's in a must-win situation, and I feel like it does have to happen here for Steph. She can't put all of this pressure on herself at Margaret River, which has been unreliable for her in the past.
Yeah, this is a wave that she's gelled with in the past. She's obviously got the victories, and she's got a few of them. So if there's a wave that she's comfortable with and she has a lot of confidence in, it's right here at Bells, and we saw that today in her heat. She looked free. She looked really composed, and she didn't look like she was feeling the pressure at all. But those quarterfinal matchups with Sally and Steph, they've got mountains to climb. They both could be potential finals right there.
And the heat that Steph had today was very impressive. It was a young rookie, India Robinson, who was facing off with her on her home break. India's the local hero. She's been out there more than anyone, but it was against the Queen, and there were multiple lead changes. Gilmore didn't feel safe until the horn went off at the end of this heat, Shannon.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I mean, by the end of it, Steph found that excellent wave, but it took a long time searching to get herself into that 8-point. And it was a really tight battle between 6s and 5s being thrown back and forth. And I was just so impressed with India's composure throughout, being at home, having the pressure, going up against the 7-time world champion. She put on a phenomenal performance, but then it was just Steph with that knowledge and that experience out here of feeling those bell victories in the past. I think that took her into that excellent range.
The queen of flow, the queen of style. How much of the wave she used always impresses me the most. India had that real cool, powerful hook approach, and she definitely showed up to represent her hometown, but was left chasing Steph Gilmore at the end of this heat, Rich.
Yeah, it was unfortunate. India can take a lot of confidence out of this heat, but she'll look back at it and go, what an experience surfing against Steph. And Steph clicked into gear, and it's it's hard to beat Steph when she's on, you know. But there were moments that India should be really, really proud of. She brought her power surfing to the bowl and executed really well.
Steph Gilmore, 807, 6.83, fighting for a 5th bell, but really trying to move inside the top 10. India Robinson left with a 6.9 at the end, so she kept building as she was chasing Steph. She surfed an incredible heat, but she'll definitely feel that pressure heading into Margaret River to qualify for the back end of the season. Another surfer today that was really fun to watch and was really impressive to find her form once again was a 2-time world champ named Tyler Wright. She was a bit emotional when she came in up the stairs, talking about how good she felt, and she recognized that feeling. She said she hadn't really felt in 4 years, and that was a big statement for Tyler today. Shannon?
Huge. It was just so, again, the emotions that we've heard from post-heat after post-heat. I think for Tyler to discover that she's feeling like she's here again and she's able to perform, that would be something that a world champion, for her to have not felt that for a while, that's a worrisome situation to be in. And now to know that she's arrived again, healthy, she's got her fiance alongside of her, she just got a whole package that's bringing her into Bells this year, and I think she could be looking for that first victory.
Well, her draw today was pretty incredible. Gabriella Bryan's made a big statement. She won the Challenger Series last year, so she had a ton of confidence. It is her first trip to Bells, so she was trying to figure things out on the fly. But Tyler set the pace really early, Rich.
Yeah, she did, and there's that trademark layback hack that we've just seen her execute so well over the years, bringing it back here to the Bells Bowl. She obviously, she's been down here so many times, and she's feeling good. You can tell just in the way that she's expressing herself on the waves here. And equipment looks on point. And this is when the Bells Bowl started to really light up today. This is the heat that things started to click. Have a look at this one, just throwing all that rail work, jamming the fins, power turns, and the second one. Wow, really critical under the lip surfing. And then out on the open face, clean turns, mixing it up too, not just relying on the one turn, showing lots of variety. And ticking all the boxes that the judges want to see.
It's so cool to see her flow and form. Gabriella Bryan was just left chasing Tyler. She peaked at a 6.8, but when Tyler's got a 9.07 and an 8.17, Bryan was a little bit out of reach for a run into the quarters. Sitting farther back on the rankings, you know, towards the 8th spot on tour. She'll feel that pressure heading into the West. For Tyler, I think last year was pretty tough. She missed out on the Rip Curl WSL finals. You know, she started the year #1 in the world, but she hasn't won an event since then, and she missed a lot of finals days. So when she was kind of referencing the lack of form, it reminded me of how long that year was for her in 2021.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, and for her to finish out #6, and it was the top 5 going into the Rip Curl WSL finals, that had to be that little tinge of like, it's so close. It's such a disappointment. It's the same as getting runner-up to the world title at the end of the year. Those kind of conversations. So great to see Tyler back in true form to get some, you know, the highest. She not only had the highest heat total of the day in that 17-point range, she had the highest heat total of the event, men's and women's side so far.
Really impressed with that powerful act that Tyler's bringing. She's never won the big bell yet. She's had 2 runner-up bells to Carissa Moore, and she also mentioned the importance of winning. She said she doesn't want to win any other event more than Bells Beach. You know, she's got world titles. All focused is going to be on the Bells Bowl for Tyler this week.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know, the big giant bell might look good right in the middle of the 2 little ones. So, yeah, we've talked about how coveted this trophy is and how much it means to all our surfers, men and women. You know, it's a hard event to win because Bells is a really hard wave to figure out, and it's the type of surfing that it's pure surfing that you need to deliver in order to win this event, and the names on there are testament to that style of surfing. They're the greats on there. So if you win that trophy, you're one of the greats.
That's exactly right. And sometimes when you figure out how to work out to win the bell, you create a bit of a dynasty. It definitely happened on the women's side. There's eras. We're still living in the Courtney Conlogue era. The Californians had a matchup to kick off the morning in the round of 16. Courtney, a 3-time Bells champ, defending her Bells title against Lakey Peterson. They're in 2 different stories right now. Lakey #2 in the world. Courtney looking to survive the cut. This was a pretty tricky heat. Things got pretty slow after that opening exchange.
Yeah, it was. It really went down to wave selection. I think that set the pace for the entire day. And Lakey she sat with priority for a lot of that heat, but she was picking often that first wave in the set, and it tended to be lumpy, a bit flatter. It was those second or third waves that began to stand up and really bowl up. And that's where we saw Courtney Conlogue going back to those 3 bells she's won before, finding the waves that offered the critical opportunities, and that's where she got the significant nod over Lakey.
Wave selection so important, and sometimes I feel like, can you really break it down in real time, or is it a review in hindsight? But Courtney was definitely on the better waves, got a 7.67 and a 6.17, so had a pretty sizable lead over Lakey throughout the heat.
Absolutely, and just surfing really strong and confident. Perfect wave choice in this heat, and just bringing a little flair too to those finishing turns. She looks on. She looks ready to go, and like Sal and Steph, both surfing really, really confident in a pressure situation.
I was on the stairs when Courtney came up, and it was a very serious. When I said, "Hey, great job," she said, "Thank you very much." She still had the eye of the sea tiger, and she knows what she's up against. She belongs on this tour, and she's really happy to be at one of her pet events as she takes out one of the favorites in Lakey Peterson, number 2, out of the contest. Conlogue, remember, has the draw with Sally Fitzgibbons, wherein they're basically in the same boat. This heat will be so important for both Sally and Courtney to... It might be telling who ends up at G-Land and who doesn't.
It's pretty wild. Courtney sitting literally a spot ahead of Sal on the rankings at the moment, and it's really going to come down to maybe who wants it more, maybe who lucks into the set waves, who uses priority. I think a lot of strategy is going to come into play because both of their surfing is right there coming to bells.
You're starting to feel this intensity of what's on the line in these quarters, Rich, as well. I mean, you think for Carissa and Steph, all-time rivals, sometimes it's hard for them to share the same space. I mean, how badly would Carissa want to be the person that knocks Steph off tour? I mean, we can kind of go there at this point of the season.
Yeah, we can. And, you know, we all know that Carissa's an absolute sweetheart. But when it comes to competition, she's the eye of the tiger. You know, she wants to destroy her opponents, and she does time and time again. You know, it's not going to feel great, you know, if you're knocking one of the best off tour, but, you know, this is the game. This is it, you know, and this is the platform that they have to work with. So the matchups are going to be amazing. You know, that G-Land carrot that's just dangling in front of everyone. They don't want to miss out on that. So there's some extra incentive there as well.
So much on the line, and all those venues as well, you know, let alone the chance to be a part of the Final 5 at the Rip Curl WSL Finals. Well, now it's time for the Boost Mobile Wave of the Day. Big congrats to a huge performance and a 9.07 for Tyler Wright. Shannon, what'd you love about this wave?
I love that she went to those laybacks. It's such classic Tyler style. It's what's won her those 2 world titles, and laying into it absolutely brought that. But then she finished with the variety, as Richie said. She brought the entire package, perfectly executed, so much speed, power, and flow. I think flow is the word that carries it through all the way to that finish.
And she just stared us all down with that look. That is dangerous signs for Tyler. I remember last year at Newcastle, she's like, I think we got to get a bit rougher in these heats. We're too close of friends on the top 17. Now that she's got her form, I feel like she's going to be ready to really throw down some intimidation in the Red Bull Athlete Zone.
Yeah, absolutely. At the end of the day, there's no friends in this. Well, there is, but there's no friends in the water, I should say. And, you know, Tyler feels like she's tapping into that hunger again, and she's starting to connect and feeling good emotionally. Her equipment looks really good. Perhaps riding a slightly longer board was something that I noticed today, and that's a really good thing out here at Bells, because you know, the turns are lengthened, the bottom turns are lengthened. There's bigger open face wall to work with, and that extra length in the surfboard often helps to just smooth out all the little bumps and wobbles out.
Exciting times in the post show. Coming up next, it will be the top 5, and I'm going to put Shannon and Richie on the spot. They're going to pick their winners for the women's event, because you guys saw a lot today, so you should be ready. We'll be right back.
This is my local beach. It's where I've grown up surfing, so any opportunity to give back and keep the beaches as clean and healthy as possible, that's what I want to do.
We can all get our hands dirty, plant the vegetation that belongs to this place, and come back and see that prosper.
We Are One Ocean is an initiative led by the WSL to inspire our global surf community to protect and conserve our one ocean. This year we're partnered with Shiseido and we're working with local organisations in communities around the world where we hold our championship tour events.
It's a beautiful day here at Bells Beach. We're doing a replanting of native plants to preserve this pristine coastline.
It's not just an excellent surfing reserve, it's got a whole ecology tied to it.
We're helping out the surfers appreciating the natural environment, the local conservation group that care for the area.
Over the years, with the surf being so amazing here and people have come from all over the world to surf here, a lot of damage was done to this area and the landscape is pretty fragile.
With the revegetation, it helps stabilise the cliffs. It's also about the biodiversity of this place.
We're planting a variety of native shrubs. They will help cover the bare area, reduce erosion, and then they'll provide habitat for local birds and animals.
Yeah, I guess I come out here today to Bells to support the initiative that WSL and Shiseido are doing, really because I feel like it's close to home for me. I live in an area that's very similar to this.
For me, it's about helping make sure that it's here for generations to come so kids can enjoy it. Hopefully my kids can enjoy it and their kids.
I feel like surfers already have this, connection to the ocean and wanting to preserve the beautiful place that we get to call our job.
It's given us so much, so if we can do the same in return, then we'll leave a beautiful planet behind.
It's just a great honour to be working with the community to bring it back to its former glory.
It's just good to show that it only takes a little bit and you can make a big difference.
It's going to be a good looking plant.
The more revegetation we can do, the more it brings back all that belongs here, and we all need to do our bit.
There's so many different ways that you can make a difference, and if we all band together to do little parts, it actually becomes one big, beautiful change.
Help us protect the future of our sport. To learn more, go to weareoneocean.org.
So cool that WSL and Shiseido are continuing the We Are One Ocean Sustainability Initiative at every CT event to preserve the future of our sport. And Bells Beach has that tradition of conservation. In '71, the Australian Surfing Association required all of the competitors to plant a tree to get entry into the event. It's such an amazing place. It's a surfing reserve. It's a protected area, and it's always going to look better and better. And we love that energy that comes around Bells Beach. For our future generations, they'll be able to enjoy it as well. Thanks for being with us back on the Harvey Norman host set. Joe with Shannon and Rich. Let's break down the Surfline forecast, Richie, to see what tomorrow might be looking like. You told me earlier it might even be a touch bigger than today.
Yeah, well, if we take the buoy readings on that knowledge, it's definitely going to be pulsing all through tonight and into tomorrow. We've had this southwesterly swell just drawing up from the bottom of the globe, the southern oceans, and you can see we're positioned just above the corner of Tasmania there. And, well, the bottom contours of the ocean there, they love to just pull these swells in. They slow them down a little bit, and they refract them right into the Bells Bowl. So we look through Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We've got offshore conditions. That's the different thing. We've had this onshore flow over the last few days. The wind's going to swing around, and then we're going to have that residual swell just staying with us in the 4 to 6 foot range. So that translates to about, head height, maybe double overhead in some sets. So plenty of waves on offer, which is great, because when we did arrive down here 4 or 5 days ago, it was looking pretty grim, and it just shows you how quick the forecast can change. And again, you've got to be ready for everything down here at Bells.
So true. Is it kind of feeling like more bowl for you, or maybe winky pop, or hard to say at this stage?
It's hard to say at this stage, but we have good tides for the bowl once we kind of hit mid-morning. The high tide really early on is not a friend of the Bells Bowl. It traditionally likes a half tide, then going down into low. Winky on the other hand, that can break through the whole tide. So it really depends on the direction. If it's got enough west in it, we may even go down to Winky because we want it breaking down the point. If it starts breaking at lowers and uppers and kind of sectioning, it's not ideal. So we'll just have to wait and see the direction of the swell in the morning.
Awesome. Can't wait to see what happens with this swell. It doesn't look like days off in our future. More action is what we love to see. It's time for the top 5 of the day here on the post show. Coming up, number 5 on the list. A very special moment for everybody here watching Bells. We all love to watch Sally Fitzgibbons, but how cool is this? The most successful surfer in Bells history was here, a 10-time Bells champ, Gail Cooper, watching the action.
Incredible to see her down here right in the mix with everyone, and especially for those surfers running down the steps to see 10 times. 10 years underneath Gail Cooper's name.
That is so special. Courtney was thriving off that motivation from Gail being on site. She features number 4 on the daily top 5. She's back in form, Rich.
Yeah, she's clicked into Mick Fanning's cyborg mode here, really focusing on the job at hand, connecting with a number of beautiful Bells bowls here, and just going to town, bringing her power act on display, and throwing some progression on the late stages of the turn. So great to see her mixing it up, looking happy after the win.
So cool to see Courtney ripping. This was a sentimental win for a lot of people who root for Bronte McCauley around the world. She was incredible against Tatiana today.
Her form was all time. She really was literally having the heat of a lifetime, and it was so exciting to see her whipping that backhand around, especially at a wave like Bells where goofies have struggled to make events before. This is Bronte's first time past the round of 16, and what a way to do it.
So great to see her picking the best sets. I think that was the biggest takeaway. She had so much wall to work with, and she wasn't surfing safe. She was belting the lip line, looking incredible, getting past to last year's runner-up in the world. Number 2 on the top 5, Carissa Moore, blew up today, Rich.
Well, Carissa came in and said she was just trying to feel her way into this event and just trying to get to know Bells again. And man, if this is her just like easing into it, then I'm scared for when she really starts to click. But you could see the form was there, the power, the precision, the aggression when she really digs into those turns. And it was a very polished performance from the world champion. And well, she must be at the top of the list when you're talking form.
The winning surfer of the post show, and taking number 1, Tyler Wright. Absolutely incredible today. Excellent heat for Tyler once again.
She's absolutely feeling it. I mean, love seeing her get that massive 17+ heat total. Love seeing her just find that rhythm in the lineup, and so hungry coming in to win the bell finally, the big one, not just the small ones. This is the way to do it.
Such great form. Tyler is back, ready for her first win of the season, as she is looking so solid on the Bells Bowl. She's looking for her first Bells trophy as well. She's got the runner-up, but she wants to take the title out. She said that so many times throughout the day today, and maybe put herself in a position for the final 5 early on this season so she can compete for her 3rd world title. I did say I'd put you guys on the spot. So Shannon, after seeing the women today, who's going to be the champ?
Okay, I've been thinking about it for the last 30 seconds. I'm going with Steph Gilmore, because once she gets in that rhythm, that hunger grows heat by heat. I think she's taking her 5th bell home.
Wow, that would be a big one, Rich. Agree, disagree?
Yeah, I agree. Sentimental Aussie favourites. I'm going to go South Steph final, and perhaps Steph will just get the edge.
Wow, I'm loving it. Make your predictions at home, because
Joey?
Oh, you want me to pick 2?
I'm throwing you under the bus.
Yeah, you know, well, Steph was in my tier C, but I feel like Carissa's going to be unstoppable. Her progression, her connection to the bowl was looking unsung today. So we'll see what happens. Make your predictions. We'll be back down in the morning for the next call. We'll lead you with all the big highlights from another big day at the Rip Curl Pro Bells Beach. Take care.
We've been keeping a close eye on the conditions as we see our competitors gearing up for what looks like another big day of competition.
So come out now.
All the power in the rail game. Slam up into the left.
Come out now. 'Cause I see you. So come out now.
Up into a super heavy finish.
Wow.
Was absolute textbook technique. Carissa Moore, the 5-time world champion, the Olympic gold medalist.
This copyrighted event broadcast is produced by the World Surf League for broadcast around the world and may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without the written consent of the World Surf League.